Some people were hating, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna show you something, but yeah, man, I really feel like it wasn't going because, like, to tell you the truth, bro, I think there was a situation between Academics and somebody over there, and Academics jumped on his shit and was like, that's why the overnight guy is getting more views than y'all. And that's what led to, like, a lot of salty
Oh,
shit at the radio station.
and Academics had a strong voice at that time too. So like people was really jacking it.
Yeah, I mean, Academics is a piece of shit, bro. Honestly, like he's not a good guy, but at the time he was beefing with them and he kind of brought me into it like he didn't know me at all and I was just an overnight dude and he was kind of just using me to shit on them like so
Right.
the biggest interview was with YBN Namir and with some overnight guy and I think that just rubbed them the wrong way and then after that it was like the studio flooded. I couldn't do interviews for a couple months. It was like all this dicky shit was happening behind the scenes to just slow me down.
Let
And
me ask you about that though. Why do you think Academics is not a good guy?
well, I mean, I'll say this Academics, at first, the first time I ever interacted with Academics, I don't know if you're familiar with the producer, 16-year-old. He's like, he got to drop, he's like 16-year-old. I think he produced a lot of
Right.
like shit for like Shaq and a couple other people. But
Uh-huh.
him and Academics were like beefing in his comments one day. And I jumped in the comments and I was like, to 16-year-old, I'm like, man, don't listen to this guy, bro. Like, you're a kid, you just coming up, man, just keep going. And Academics was just cooking him about some shit that I knew nothing about. They was just beefing about whatever bullshit. And it's just like, I felt bad because I'm like, bro, Academics like twice this kid's age and he's on some like shitting on this kid and this kid's like 16 making beats and it's like why are you telling him like he's a loser like so I literally jumped in this kid's comments like man don't listen to him bro keep doing what you're doing and then Academics blocked me on Instagram right
Wow.
so that happened then he dragged me into the shit with him in the station on some like the next biggest interview was with this guy the overnight guy and he didn't say my name but at the time I feel like maybe he knew my name I don't know it's just weird he was just doing all this weird shit then I seen him at a Post Malone show he like looked at me and acted mad dicky I went to go talk to him he just like turned around I'm like oh okay so you're just like a cornball so it was like those few
Got you.
interactions. And then, fast forward, time went by and I cooked him. I was like, fuck it. He had gotten mad trouble for like drinking and driving or something. He got arrested. And I said something about it on the radio. I became friends with this guy, Lil Tracy, that was like fucking his girl behind the scenes. And then Academics just like went off on me one day. He called me like retarded and all this shit. So it was just, I've always had drama with Academics for no reason.
Do you respect what he's been able to do though?
No, not at all. I don't respect none of that shit. Honestly, because it's like, what have you done? It's like I respect somebody that's like that puts together content and like really supports like the culture. I ain't even mad if you doing commentary, but like to create drama to feed off it, that's crazy. That's like starting a fire to put it out and be like, I'm the hero. I stopped that fire. It's like, if he didn't start the fire, if he was just out here putting out fires, or if he was just a professional at starting fires, I'd respect either one. I'd be like, wow, that guy's the best at starting fires, or that guy's the best at putting them out. But to start them and then want praise for putting them out, I'm like, bro, you're just a fucking gimmick. Like,
All right. Well, let's keep it funky though. Don't you think that in today's content world, from No Jumper to like, you know what I mean, the Whack 100, like all these guys, right? Don't you think that this has become the new wave though?
100%. And I think it's the new wave because of fucked up people that are insecure that don't want to do the work. Plain and simple. Like, I think it's the wave because these DJs would rather have disposable artists that they're going to maximize money with instead of creative artists that want to retain a lot of their money. I think it's the ways because it's easier to get attention for like videotaping yourself giving a homeless guy money instead of just giving the guy money. Like,
Right.
it's not productive. And in my opinion, to tell you the truth, I feel like a lot of the people that, are in the industry, I'll put it like this. I could sign two kids, right? I could sign a kid that's been making music his whole life, studied the industry, understands how his publishing pays, understand how his stuff works, and I could have a great business relationship with a kid that we're 50-50, or I could find a kid that gets just as many views but is a complete idiot, give him 10 grand, make him happy as shit because it's the biggest amount of money he's ever seen, and then keep 90% of his shit. And if he doesn't do well, I'll just write off the money the 10 grand, and then I don't owe anybody anything. So it's like, it's easier business. You get what I'm saying? It's like, it's much easier to just be like, hey, fucking, I'm going to sign this kid that is going to get 1 million streams and I'm going to make 90% of the money, as opposed to signing this kid that's going to get 1 million streams but wants to split it 50-50 because he knows his shit. So it's just like,
But how do you feel about the people that are actually making the content with the podcasting and stuff? Like, you see all these channels where, you know, it's primarily centered around drama. Like, how do you feel about that?
if you're making content, if you're doing something that's like you're putting work in, by all means, you know, and Akademiks, I feel like if he was creating videos and doing all this, by all means, but just going on rants about things that are like drama filled is like, all right, like it's,
so like you're saying, like, because he goes live and he's just breaking down everything that's going on in hip hop, and then how he'll go on his rants about situations at
even
times.
if he was doing that, even if he was breaking down everything that was going on in hip hop, that means he's sitting down and he's looking at everything and breaking it down. My man's is gonna scroll through and be like, okay, that's some drama. I'm gonna talk about that. That's positive. We're not gonna talk about that. That's drama. This guy don't fuck with me, even though he fucks with other people and people like, and it's just like, again, it's like starting the fire and then wanting praise for putting it out, man. Is like either be about starting it or being about putting it out. But like, to have your cake and eat it too is just like you're taking from the culture. Like, I'm really like, I'm so for the people, man. It's to a flaw, because it's like anybody could do that. I could go out here and play some kid that just burps on records on High 97, and everybody's gonna talk about it because they'll be like, "You heard that song last night? I heard a kid just burping for 3 minutes straight," and everybody will talk about it, and they'll look me up, and I'll get a bunch of following. But what did I really do? What I really did was just take advantage of this kid, and or take advantage of the kid that is making music. You get what I'm saying? It's like, I'm just like fucking people over, bro.
What do you think about like No Jumper then, and what they've been able to do as far as
Adam
over there?
is full of drama all day, every day, and there's a place for housewives. There's a place for Adam. Like, if Akademiks sat down and like produced a podcast and did some shit, I'd be like, all right.
I mean, he does have a podcast though, right? I don't think he does it that often though, but like,
I think Akademiks is like, somebody probably approached him and was like, yo, just come talk shit here and we'll give you a bunch of money. Like, I mean, and granted, I don't know. Like, I can say this. I appreciate that he's built such a big following.
That's what I was trying to ask you. Like,
of course, yeah. Anybody who could build a following, like, that takes work, and I appreciate it. I appreciate Kim Kardashian, and she really, you know, it's like the same kind of shit. But at the end of the day, it's just like, it does more damage than it does good. Like, that's just how I feel. Like, if you could do that without people suffering, by all means, but you're not making the industry a better, more lucrative, profitable place. You're making it a more vindictive, grimy, degenerate place. And I really believe that through that, by supporting the people like that, you're creating more kids that want to fucking carry guns and buy jewelry. And you're not creating more people that are going to build a culture that we can take pride in. And, you know, we're seeing it. A lot of the kids that this guy has talked about have been killed, bro. A lot of them are in a lot of dangerous situations. And we never had that before. You know, we didn't have that with journalists and shit. We had that with bloggers and the commentators.